Oh shit, I forgot. Is this something you say a lot? How do you feel when you give your word to other people but then forget about it? I know, you have so much to do and it's hard to remember everything.
That's bullshit! Stop making excuses and get a system right now. Hi, my name is Andre, and in this video I'll show you how to use Todoist to track and process all your ideas and things you have to do. More importantly, I'll explain to you why it's absolutely critical that you have a personal system in place. Trust me, your life will become easier as it gets more organized. And that's what this tutorial is about. I'll guide you from a blank app to running your everyday from Todoist.
Good news! Everything you'll learn in this video is using the free version only. We'll focus on the mobile app, but you can apply the principles on any platform you prefer. And you'll get to see my drawing skills in action.
Now, before we get into the basics of Todoist, we must first talk about why. Why do you need an app like Todoist to track everything you have to do or want to do? Well, obviously, so that you don't forget anymore. And that way, you can take full control of your life and your goals.
Imagine this. You're at work writing an important email. Suddenly, you get a reminder that a team meeting starts right now, so you rush into it. The meeting is going well. You come up with some great ideas. Organize lunch with a client. Draft a new campaign. Schedule training for a new team. Good job. Except that you never note it down. As soon as the meeting is over, you want to go back and finish your important email. But your colleague stops you for a chat. Hey, wanna go for a beer one day? Sure, why not? Let me check my calendar and get back to you. Finally, you return to your desk to continue working on yes, the email. You're so close to finishing this important task when the phone rings. Honey, can you buy eggs on your way home? Oh, and don't forget to pay the bills today, okay? These are just a few things that can happen in a day. Not to mention your other goals you thought of. Lose weight, get a better credit card, spend more time with kids, clean up computer. Let's be real. If you're trying to remember everything with your head, you are going to forget. You'll never have that beer with your colleague, and all your great ideas will go to waste. You'll never take an action.
And that's why you need a personal system. Ever heard of GTD, getting things done?
The GTD method rests on the idea of moving planned tasks and projects out of the mind by recording them externally and then breaking them into actionable work items. This allows attention to be focused on taking action on tasks instead of recalling them.
The first step of GTD is to capture everything that has your attention into a system. Once you have everything in a system and you constantly review it, you are not going to forget anything ever again.
For me, the system is Todoist. I've been using it since September 2013. What I like about Todoist is that it has a very neat UI, the synchronization works perfectly across devices, and the whole company behind it seems like they know what they're doing. Using Todoist can put you from being reactive to being proactive about your life. No more stress about forgetting what you had to do. And the most important thing, keeping your word leads to trust, whether it's at work or in your personal life.
In a short moment, I'll show you how to get started with Todoist and build your personal productivity system in it. If you like this video so far, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, please let me know below in the comments. I promise I'll answer everything. When you launch Todoist for the very first time, you'll get a bunch of tasks that serve as a tutorial. Because you'll get a better explanation in this video, let me quickly delete the task and projects. All good now, we're starting from scratch. No tasks and no projects. This is the default view of Todoist where you see the tasks that are due today. I'll explain to you later why it's the default view and why you should be spending most of your time here. Todoist is mainly a task list, so let's create our first task. To add a task, simply tap the plus button. Type what you have to do, like create invoice. Under the task name, you see that it will be scheduled for today. It will also go under your inbox, which I'll explain shortly. At this point, we don't need to do anything more, so confirm the task by tapping the arrow in the bottom right corner. Voila, our first to-do is now on the list. Let's create another task to pay the bills, again for today. It's a good practice to keep all your to-dos in one list, whether it's for work or personal matters. Your life would be pretty boring if you only had to create an invoice and pay the bills. Let's quickly add a bunch more tasks that we have to do today. Prepare a meeting agenda, organize a meeting, write a script, record Todoist app, edit the video, review Joe's presentation, approve the budget, read a book, clean the room. All 11 tasks are now sitting in our Todoist app, all due today. Not everything you do must be done today, of course. In fact, the key to not forgetting anything is to put everything into a system like Todoist, whether it's due today or in a year. What we're going to do now is to add a few tasks for the future. I would like to start planning a new project tomorrow. If you tap on Today, you'll get the option to set the due date for a new task. We'll select Friday from the calendar view and confirm by tapping Reschedule. And I just remembered to visit my family this weekend. I'll add this as a to-do in the same way, this time selecting Sunday from the calendar view. One great feature about Todoist is smart dates. You can type the due date next to your task name without having to select the date from the calendar view. Let me show you how it's done by creating the same tasks again, now using smart dates. If you type TMR, Todoist will recognize it and set the task for tomorrow automatically. For the family visit on Sunday, we can type SUN and Todoist will set the due date to the next Sunday. When we scroll down the list, the tasks we've just added are not there. Remember that we're in the Today view, so only to-dos due today are showing up here. If you remember, all to-dos are added to Inbox by default. Inbox serves as a staging area for all your to-dos before you decide to categorize them into a project. There's also a view for Inbox. Here, you can see all to-dos that are added to Inbox regardless of their due date. By default, it's sorted by the day the tasks were added, so we can see our new tasks at the bottom. The second, more useful view is the upcoming view. This is where you can see beyond today, and the tasks are grouped based on their due date. You can simply scroll down to see what you have planned for any date in the future. As you've noticed, we have duplicate tasks. One we created using the calendar date, and then using the smart date. Let's get rid of one of the instances. First tap the task to see its details, then select the 3 dots, and pick Delete Task, and confirm it with Yes. The task is now gone, and we'll do the same for the family visit. Now that we know how to add and delete tasks, I'll show you how to edit them. Let's go back to today's view. Here we have a task which says Organize a meeting. But who is the meeting with? The problem with vague descriptions is that you'll forget what exactly you intended to do. You may know now, but if you look at your to-do in a week or later, you won't know the context. So we'll make it more descriptive. This is a simple and straightforward thing. Tap the task to bring up the details, and then tap the name. This allows us to edit the title, so I'll just add that I want to organize a meeting with designers. Confirm the change with the black arrow and it's done. It would be a very bad system if you couldn't change the due dates. We already have a lot on our plate for today, and you want me to clean the room as well? I don't think so. Let's reschedule it for this weekend. Tap the task to get its details, and now select Today. This will bring up the calendar view where we can select a new due date. Confirm the change by pressing Reschedule. As you can see, the task disappeared from today's view as expected. One of the most powerful ways how to be productive is to create habits. Things that we do on a regular basis until a point where they become automatic or second nature. To set this up in Todoist, we will create recurring tasks. A key habit I've started doing recently for myself is to always start every day with the most important task. Abbreviated as MIT, let's add a task in Todoist to Start with MIT. When we're building a habit, it's important that we practice this every day, not just today. And I'm going to tell Todoist that this task repeats every day by simply typing every day. Todoist recognizes this as a smart recurring date, which is indicated with the arrows. Another good practice is to always reach inbox 0 for your work emails. We want to do this every work day, which is another smart date that Todoist gets. Once you get into a weekend, this won't show up for you. Next habit I do every morning is to write a journal. You don't even have to type every day, just type EV day and Todoist will recognize it as well. For the final demonstration, I'll use my dance practice, which I try to do at least every other day. Right now we have 17 tasks in our app, and it's starting to get a bit confusing. It's a mix of work-related tasks and personal ones, but there's no indication of it. We're going to fix this by using projects. Projects basically group to-dos and allow you to organize your tasks. When you open the menu in your app, you'll see the option to add project. First, I'm going to add a work project and give it a blue color. Then I'll create a personal project with a yellow color. One more project for my creative work, and if you saw my toggle video, you know that I like to use both red color for anything creative. We have all 3 projects created, but there are no tasks in them. The reason for that is that we created all the tasks initially for Inbox, which is sort of a special default project. What we need to do now is move our tasks from Inbox to these newly created projects. Let's go back to today's view. To move a task into a project, first tap it. Then you select the current project, which is Inbox. This gives you the option to move the task to a different project. For Create Invoice, we'll move it to Work Project. Now you can see on the right side that the task belongs to a work project. Next, I'll move Paying the Bills to a personal project in the same way. Another way to move a task is to bring up more options by tapping the 3 dots and again selecting to move the task. I'll categorize all remaining tasks to their respective projects. I've started using projects only recently and it brings more clarity into my to-do list. These days I can have 30 plus tasks every day and it's a mess if they're not categorized. Sometimes I just want to focus on my work to-dos, and if they're assigned to a work project, I can easily recognize them in my view. But if you have a low number of tasks, you can do fine without using projects at all. Now that we've added all tasks from today into projects, we can see them under each project. Work project has 6 tasks, personal 5, and we have 3 creative tasks. We can't forget about the tasks that are due in future, they're still assigned to Inbox. I'll quickly add them to the right project. You can of course assign a task to a project right when you create it. Let me show you. I'll add a new task to publish a video tomorrow. Before you confirm the new task, tap on Inbox, which brings up the list of projects you can assign it to. This one is a creative task. Confirm it, and when we switch to the upcoming view, you can see it's scheduled for tomorrow and marked as creative. Even though all our tasks are now categorized into projects, it's still 14 things we have to do today. But what should be the first thing we need to work on? This is where we need to start talking about prioritization. By default, all the tasks are sorted according to the time they were added. But that doesn't mean we have to work on them in the same order. Our goal is to work on the list from the top to the bottom. Have the most important things on the top and work your way down. We can prioritize the task by simply reordering them. If you tap and hold the task, you can move it around. Approving the budget seems important, so let's move it under Create Invoice. When I finish the 2 tasks on the top, I'd like to review Joe's presentation next. These are all the things I'll do once I get to work. But I want to start my day writing the journal, so let's move it all the way up. Finally, I'll move my dance practice a little bit higher. Another way to prioritize your task is to use the 4 priority levels that Todoist gives you. So far, all the tasks were added as priority 4, which is the default one. I would say that starting with the most important task is very important. I'll tap the task, and here we look at the flag icon, which indicates the priority. You can see 4 levels of priority, the grayish one being the lowest. This is the default one as well. I'll select the blue priority 3, which automatically bumps the task to the top of the list. Why? Because all other tasks are P4. I still want to write my journal the first thing in the morning, so I'll change the priority for this task to P3 as well. If you try to manually move priority 4 task above priority 3, Todoist won't allow you to do that. You can only reorder tasks within the same priority. If I wanted to make create invoice more important, I can mark it as P2. This gives it the orange circle and moves it to the top, because it's more important than the blue P3 tasks and the gray P4 tasks. Finally, now that we created all the tasks in our list, it's time to do them. Unfortunately, the current version of Todoist doesn't support doing the work for you, so you still have to do it on your own. But once you finish a task, come back to Todoist and simply tap the circle. This marks the task as complete and it goes away from your list. I'll complete a bunch of tasks because it's so satisfying to get things done. Congratulations, you finished the first part of the tutorial, learning the basics of Todoist. The app has more features in its free version, like subtasks, sections, and boards, but honestly, I don't use them at all. As you'll see in the second part of the tutorial, this is all you need to manage your everyday from Todoist. Psst! If you like this video so far, please share it with your friends and colleagues who tend to forget a lot. And you let me know what helped you the most. Now, welcome to the second part of the tutorial where I'll show you how to manage your everyday from Todoist. This way you'll never forget anything again and people will start to trust you. Let's start by refreshing what I mentioned in the intro. GTD. What is GTD? The GTD method rests on the idea of moving planned tasks and projects out of the mind by recording them externally and then breaking them into actionable work items. This allows attention to be focused on taking action on tasks instead of recalling them. One of the main principles of GTD is that we need to log all our actionable ideas into a system like Todoist immediately as soon as we have them. Never delay this because if you try to remember with your head, you are going to forget for sure. Todoist is a storage for your ideas. We should use our brain to process the ideas and work on them. Todoist basically tells you what to do and your brain is there to figure out how to do it and then do it. Once you have everything in the system, you just have to be consistently using it. I'll explain the daily process later. Just to demonstrate. Remember in the intro, you wanted to grab a beer with your friend. If it's just a thought that it would be nice if it happened, then nothing's going to happen. Both of you will probably forget. Whenever you have a thought of doing something, put it into Todoist right away. Beer meeting with Chris. If you're in a rush, just use the default setting to day and inbox. You can categorize and schedule it later. Another example. It's 8 p.m. You're doing the dishes and suddenly you have an idea for your team. You want to discuss it with your boss. Don't be naive and think you'll remember it tomorrow. Just put it in your system immediately. If you want to make things easier, you can categorize the task right away. And let's also look for a gym and sign up. We always wanted to get fit and lose some weight. Now it's not just a dream, it's an actionable task that lives in your system and you decide what to do about it. Another important thing to share with you is the way I think about the due dates. For me, if something is due today in Todoist, it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be completed today. If a task is scheduled for today, it means I want to give it attention today and decide what to do about it. There are a few different types of tasks you'll find in my today's list. Tasks that must be completed today, tasks that I want to start doing today, but they don't have to be fully completed today, things I just want to be reminded of, and new tasks and ideas we quickly logged so that we don't forget about them. Because we use due date in Todoist to mark when a task should grab our attention, we need a way to indicate the real due date for tasks that need it. I started putting the real due date in the task name in square brackets. This is not recognized by Todoist as a smart date. Here I'm adding the new task to draft a proposal which I must complete by Saturday. But I don't want it to show up in my today's view only on Saturday because it's a larger task that I'd like to work on continuously. So I'll simply set the due date for Friday. This way it shows up for me on Friday and I can start working on it, but I also know I need to only complete it by Saturday. Another example, I have to deliver a big project by next Friday. But in order to do that, I want to monitor the progress throughout the next week. Let's say that I schedule it for next Tuesday to see if I'm on track delivering the project by Friday. Now, let me finally explain to you why you should be spending most of your time in today's view and ignore the rest. I read a book from Dale Carnegie called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. One of his advice for a happy life without worry was to live in day-tight compartments. What this means is that you only focus on what you have to do today and don't worry about what you have to do in the future. If you give your best each day, you'll be happier and do better work than worrying about what you will have to do in a week. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't do any preparation in advance for bigger tasks that are in the future. But that's what I explained in the previous section, that you can schedule something for today without having to complete it today. I'll give you an example. Your trip to Las Vegas is coming up in a month. You set a task 1 week before your flight in Todoist to start packing. But until the packing task shows up in your Todoist, you don't worry about your trip at all and you focus on other things. It's as if there was no trip at all. It is important to learn how to schedule things in advance so that you know when to set your due date in Todoist. But this mostly comes from practice and experience. Now I want to summarize everything in a process, how to go through your day with Todoist. You wake up, launch the app, and look at your list. It should already be prioritized the night before. You pick the first task on the top and you go do it. Then you come back to Todoist and mark it as complete. Then you move on to the next item on the list and so on. You go through your day with the intention of completing all tasks, respecting the priorities and their real due dates. Eventually, you will start getting towards the end of the day. If you completed everything and reached 0 tasks for today, congratulations to you. But if you follow my previous advice and your today's list contains all the things you wanted to start today and your new ideas, you will still be probably left with a few uncompleted tasks. But that is completely fine, we'll deal with it. First, start with tasks that have a real due date for today, and you either make the extra effort to complete them or you inform everyone involved about the delay and reschedule. Now, tasks that don't need to be completed today. Do you still have energy and time to start working on them? Is the real due date very soon and you should really force yourself to do at least something? You either complete these tasks fully, or you do at least something or nothing at all. And you reschedule for the next day. For new ideas and to-dos that we log during the day, now it's the time to classify them and set the right due date for when we want these tasks and ideas to get our attention. So let's imagine that this is where we are at the end of the day. Write script, done. Record Todoist, done. I can finish the editing today and I'm totally fine moving it tomorrow because it doesn't have a restriction to complete it today. I write a quick message to Chris about our beer meeting and consider it done. Other idea that we log was to look for a gym. I'll look into that next Monday. Talk to Jeff about a team, we'll do that tomorrow. I quickly pay the bills and practice my dancing. Unfortunately, no time for a book, but Saturday might be a better chance. We've reached 0 tasks for today, which is how you should end every day. Again, it doesn't mean you completed everything, you just processed everything that you could and the rest is okay to be done some other time. Now, before you completely shut down, this is the best time to set the most important tasks for the next day. Go to the upcoming view and check tomorrow. Flag the most important tasks with the right priority so that when you open your Todoist the next day, they will be on top of your today's view. I usually pick 3, but start with the one that can radically change your life. Give it at least 1 hour before you start with your daily routine tasks and you'll get there eventually. To me, keeping your word leads to trust. Think about how many times you forgot to do something and you let other people, including yourself, down. Once you start using a system like Todoist, you won't have this issue anymore, and I believe you will be able to achieve more in your life and you will have better relationship with other people. And that's the end of the tutorial, my friends. I hope you got some value out of this. Please let me know below in the comments. Actually, no, wait. In order for us to practice what you just learned, please come back in exactly 1 week and then leave your comment. I just want to see how many of you will forget. P.S. Please do not subscribe if you expect more videos like this. I really enjoyed doing this video, but it took me so much time. And in 2021, I want to niche down and focus on my industry, which is localization. So I won't be doing a lot more videos like this. So thank you for understanding. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up and share with others. But again, please do not subscribe. Thank you.